19. Pregnant by her professor. $0 in the bank. Margo has no support, and the world has already decided she's a failure for keeping the baby. But Margo is no victim. She turns to OnlyFans to pay the rent and buy diapers. Margo's Got Money Troubles is a story about our obsession with snap judgments. Because if there's anything the world loves to judge more than motherhood, it's sex work. Let's start with motherhood. The plot raises an immediate question. Can a character have an abortion without the story spiraling into a heavy-handed moral drama? TV has finally figured out how to show an abortion. In Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Paula, a mother of two who is finally pursuing her law degree, decides to have an abortion. It was praised for showing a pro-choice decision from an established older parent. In Glow, Ruth has a very quiet, grounded abortion in the first season. It isn't a joke episode, but the show maintains its 80s camp and comedic energy throughout the arc. In the first season of Girls, Jessa schedules her appointment only to get her period before she can even go. In the last season, Hannah weighs her options and lives her feminist truth by choosing to have her baby. Her rival instead, Mimi Howard, casually tells her boyfriend Adam that she can't go for a run because she had an abortion yesterday. It was praised and debated for showing a woman who was 100% certain of her choice and felt zero need to perform sadness or guilt for the men in her life. But when it comes to teen pregnancy, Hollywood loves to glamorize it, turning a crisis into a quirky indie aesthetic. Take the 2007 classic Juno. A 16-year-old gets knocked up by her friend, navigates pregnancy, and searches for adoptive parents for her baby with superhuman maturity. Juno's parents are upset for like 5 minutes and become endlessly supportive. Nobody bullies Juno at school, nobody shames her. Then she pops out a baby like she's returning a DVD. No trauma, no hormonal fallout. Just two teens playing guitar to a hit folk soundtrack. It made millions by selling the lie that pregnancy and motherhood is simple if you're middle class and have the right vibe. Then there's Margo. At 19, she shares Juno's wise beyond her years pragmatism, but she doesn't live in a fantasy world. As the daughter of a single mother, Hooters waitress, and a recovering addict ex-wrestler, Margo comes from a place of deep financial disempowerment. Still, don't be fooled. Her story isn't a case study in rural despair. It's not hillbilly elegy. The lack of money here offers a great plot engine. Because Margo is many dollars away from being trash, which allows the story to stay in the realm of quirky humor and dark absurdity rather than a Dickensian tragedy. To a modern audience, a 19-year-old actually wanting a baby feels like a huge stretch. We've been conditioned to see it as the ultimate life ruiner, but that's exactly where author Rufi Thorpe plays with the reader. She knows you're judging. She knows you probably wouldn't like Margo in real life. So Thorpe weaponizes that tension from page 1, using Margo's literature class as a meta-commentary on how we perceive empathy and narrative. But the most brilliant move Thorpe makes is surrounding Margo with characters who are reflexively judgmental. They do the judging, so you don't have to. Interestingly, every character who pressures Margo to end her pregnancy or quit OnlyFans is deeply flawed in one way or another, so their moral advice and judgment falls flat. The baby's father, a married professor in a position of power, warns Margo she is throwing her life away, yet it feels predatory rather than helpful. Margo's best friend Becca, who serves as a mirror for the reader, voicing all the presumably sensible critiques of young motherhood, turns out to be shallow and cold. Margo's mother, Cheyenne, pressures Margo to end her pregnancy just to protect her own image. In fact, Cheyenne's pressure is one of the main reasons Margo decides to have the baby in the first place, partly out of a stubborn desire to prove she won't be bent to her mother's will. There is a bitter irony in Margo's experience. Nobody wants her to keep the baby, but once it arrives, Suddenly, everyone becomes vitally interested in her every move. The book is full of voices that embody the modern madness of gate-kept motherhood, with all this anxiety and pressure at perfection. It's not anymore about, are you ready, but an assessment. Are you permitted by a higher authority to exist as a parent? Do you possess the social capital and resources of a small corporation, or can someone decide you simply aren't up to the task? Overall, Margo offers a refreshing departure from the recent wave of aimless millennial female characters who avoid motherhood like the plague. But when they finally somehow have a baby, they spend hundreds of pages lamenting how domesticity has swallowed their identities, Leslie Jameson's splinters, or literally turned them into a dog out of frustration, Rachel Yoder's night bitch. Margo doesn't complain that motherhood isn't cool. She simply accepts the reality of it and gets to work. On OnlyFans. The labor of the digital body. While many novels treat OnlyFans as a vague plot device, Rufi Thorpe approaches it as a complex, legitimate industry. This isn't just a story about a girl posting nudes. Thorpe doesn't ask, is it wrong to sell your body for other people's gratification? Instead, she makes the main character explore the digital attention economy. Thorpe reportedly conducted expensive research for the book, paying for subscriptions and messaging creators to understand the nuances of the platform. This shines through in the text. There is an obsessive focus on discovery and monetization that occasionally reads like a how-to manual for the hustle. Although Thorpe wrote the book during the pandemic as the site was first peaking, her core theme, that you must be a master storyteller to survive the creator economy, is even more relevant today. We see Margo research how to drive traffic, optimize her funnel, and navigate a site that has firmly embedded itself in the cultural zeitgeist. Because the growth of the platform is staggering. Since its founding in 2016, OnlyFans has paid out more than $25 billion to creators. In 2024 alone, it generated $7.2 billion from fans, with creators pocketing 80% of that revenue. Its CEO claimed the company contributes more in taxes to the UK government than the entire British fishing industry. From tennis star Nick Kyrgios to singer Kate Nash, celebrities have flocked to the site to reclaim their narratives and their income. In 2024, Lily Allen famously took to selling photos of her feet, noting they paid better than Spotify. Her response to the backlash? Don't hate the player, hate the game. For many, the site offers a more ethical, self-governed path for sex work, allowing creators to own their content and keep the vast majority of the proceeds. In 2026, the platform is more crowded than ever. Jinx's advice about building a unique character is now the only viable way to break through the noise. If Margo's persona, Hungry Ghost, launched today, she'd likely still go viral, but she'd be fighting a different war, managing a TikTok live funnel while fending off AI-generated clones of herself. The agentification of the platform means the top 1% is now nearly impossible to reach without a massive marketing machine behind you. By going into the weeds with technical details, the book forces the reader to view sex work as real work. It requires boundaries, customer service, and paying taxes. Margo's father, an ex-wrestler, becomes her coach. Thorpe does a great job at exposing the hypocrisy of the audience. We are a society that consumes sexual content behind closed doors while publicly shaming the people who provide it. We see this through the character of Rose, Margo's colleague, and a fellow content creator. A former physics researcher, Rose was ousted from her department by a concerned colleague who claimed her presence defiled a hallowed space for science. But how did that colleague find her content? Did he just stumble into a subscription? The same people casting stones are often the ones hitting the subscribe button later that night. Ultimately, OnlyFans empowers Margo to build a dignified life on her own terms. As she eventually realizes, good or evil, every single dollar was power. It's the power to hire a lawyer, command respect, and silence the judgment of others. Motherhood and OnlyFans represent two different ways in the book of navigating the world with a female body. Both are performances of labor. One is defined by self-sacrifice and nurturing, while the other by self-commodification and agency. By inhabiting both spaces, Margo is essentially challenging the traditional Madonna whore complex, proving that one can be a devoted present parent, while simultaneously being a savvy, autonomous business owner in the digital economy. Both require thick skin, a lot of stamina, and a refusal to be defined by a single narrow category. Margo doesn't just find a way to pay the bills. She reclaims her agency by commodifying a part of herself that she, and only she, chose to share.